I think OBS is actually like they're gathering data to see how people deal with like these situations.
Hmm.
And they're using that to build up profiles so they can clone our brains, right? And create new AIs that are based off of us and how we operate. Stay woke.
I mean, it's not that far off.
Yeah.
That's what they're, that's what somebody was talking to me about, like 23andMe recently,
Hmm.
and how like it's cool, but also now they have a profile on all these people who didn't necessarily have their information out there to begin with.
Right.
You
True.
know, maybe in 20 years we'll figure out it was a terrible
To
idea. Who
begin
knows?
with. Their information was definitely out there to begin with. Like that, the thing about it is a lot of that information was already out there.
True, true.
Yeah. It's another data point for them to help connect the dots.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's the data point we can see, and that's the conspiracy. We're focused on AI and shit, and not the fact that they don't have proper information security. Think about it.
I was listening
Worried
to
about AI
Talk
when
that talk.
all of that same information has already been sold by the NSA. Think
True.
about it. Think about it.
I was listening to a podcast earlier, and they were like earlier in the week, and they were talking about black swan events, which are the events. It's like you have all the greatest minds looking at a problem, and all of them are seeing different ways to handle the problem. And the black swan event is with all like all of
All OBS?
consciousness. Yeah, OBS. OBS is the collection of black swan events. You got a bunch of people looking at it, all using it for a bunch of different applications. It's just nobody understands why what went wrong, and there'll probably never be an answer. But in the concept, they were talking about how AI, there's going to need to be rules. Right now, we're just kind of like in a wild frontier of like this just unproven technology essentially running rampant because there are like no rules to it. And the concern that people are having over a certain level are the things that nobody even realizes could potentially be problems with it that become problems because AI is already starting to do things like hire people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Like that's
how
that's one of my current
Job,
battles. Like going through jobs now is battling AI and battling nepotism.
Yep.
If you can knock out one of those things, you're in a better place. But
I mean, we could go on a whole rant about this,
Hey,
but like, I feel like
I mean,
before AI is a thing that replaces many jobs, I feel like universal basic income needs to like happen before
anyway.
before we put everybody out of jobs. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Also,
I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that's what should happen.
Doubtful.
also you got to remember that like a lot of these companies, like Google, already fired their ethics people. One of
Yep.
the biggest name in AI who's been working on it since like the 90s left Google so he could talk about the lack of ethics and how there needs to be ethics and how he didn't
Yeah.
believe that things were going to go this fast when it's like, no, there's a fundamental rule of technology where everything exponentially grows every like 5-ish years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we are what, 5 years removed from the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which was them using our data to create models to sell us ads, like
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
the same
Yeah,
algorithms that decide what Netflix shows you watch. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, my partner Lucas, he works. Basically, it's like a call assistance dispatch for like truckers across the nation, and they just fired like 30% of the company because they replaced those folks who were basically just doing chat work that wasn't like personalized. They just replaced that with AI. So like he still has his job because he's like a little bit higher up, but it's happening, and there's no safety net for those people who maybe they just started 6 months ago, or maybe they don't, maybe they're young, or maybe they're untrained or whatever. And like those people just get fired because they just figure they can use AI. And I mean, it does work to some extent, but I don't know if you've read any of like the chat GPT like descriptions of shit. Like it's it works. Like technically it's English and technically there is a sentence, but it doesn't really make sense. Like,
Right.
Right.
And I mean,
It-
that's just a matter of it not having enough data and not having the resources to make it better than, because, and that's the thing. If you look at the images even from 6 months ago of all those AI, like, you give it a text prompt and it gives you like a generated photo. Like 6 months ago, the quality of those was like you could look at it and tell,
yeah, the
like,
hands.
right, the hands, the like weird squiggly faces, but like as time has gone on, like you're seeing less and less of that, and you're seeing more and more AI stuff that is tricking people. Like the concerning thing is when people aren't looking for AI and are
Yeah.
tricked by AI.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
see an image just scrolling down their timeline, like the puffy coat Pope,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
but like nobody.
Like,
Trump getting arrested.
yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
And
the thing. It's like AI is inevitable. Like it's gonna happen.
Mhm.
Like if we're to do it like the right way, so to speak, like we kind of are all of our like social economy ethics stuff, like that needs to catch up with
Yeah.
where our tech is, because our tech is gonna outdo us real soon, and then a bunch of
Yeah.
people are gonna be like broke ass or worse.
Right.
So I feel like if they're gonna like unleash that on us, cool, great, yes, please automate a bunch of shit, AI, whatever, fine,
Mhm.
cool. But like, people need to get paid and have that safety net before we put everyone out of jobs.
right.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
in every industry, but a lot of
Yeah, the ills of any technology is the society that created it.
Yeah.
It's really just that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look who's making the AI, who's programming it. Like a lot of them all look and are a certain way. So those biases are inherently built into those programs. And that
Yeah.
shit is gonna and it's gonna perfect that bias to an extent and just lean into that. And it's gonna
Yeah.
end up making marginalized folks that much more marginalized.
Yeah, like we think
That's
the
just crazy.
algorithm, AI is like on a whole other level from the TikTok algorithm as far as like racism and sexism and all the marginalization going on, like, pretty much.
All right.